It's not about money. It's definitely just about the environment. Honest. Hi, it's me again, and ChilliJonCarne, the wonderful and very professional Mayor of London, is expanding the ultra-low emission zone to cover all of Greater London, which pretty much pushes out towards me here in Essex. And it's good. It's wonderful for the environment. It's definitely not a profit-making exercise. It's got nothing to do with money at all. It's all about the environment. Honest. The £12.50 ULEZ charge is for vehicles that do not meet up-to-date emission standards which currently cover inner London. So this story that I'm learning about the ULEZ charge from is actually about used car prices, and it will really heavily impact used car prices. It's amazing the cars that can and can't go into the ULEZ zone. And this is how I know that it's definitely about the environment and not a profit-making exercise, because my car, I don't know if you know, I've bought an old Range Rover. I've always fancied one, and my Astra died. I thought, you know what, sod it. I'm never going to be able to have a big stupid car again, probably, am I? I'm going to do it. So I bought a TD V8. That's a V8 diesel twin turbo Range Rover. And I stuck it into the ULEZ thing. Have a look what it said. This vehicle meets the ULEZ emission standards. You do not need to pay a daily ULEZ charge to drive in the zone and are helping to improve air quality across London. Now this car, even on a run, even if I'm going a really long way, I struggle, really heavily struggle to get 25 to the gallon out of it. It's a big heavy thing, weighs 2.5 tons. It's got a 3.6 V8 twin turbo diesel in it. It is not good for the environment. I accept that, and it's the last time I'm going to have a big silly car like this, I'm sure of it. But it's ULEZ compliant. ULEZ compliant. My niece, for instance, she has, I think it's a 1.9 TDI in her Seat Ibiza. Same year as my car. Have a look. Okay, look, white Seat Ibiza Sport TDI. Ultra low emission zone, £12.50 a day. So yeah, her car, the same year as mine. I think we're both 2011 plated cars. It's a 1.9 TDI. All right, it's a Volkswagen derived TDI, so the emissions aren't quite what they may seem, obviously. Right? But even caning it, which you can't do because you've got a black box, but I have done before the black box was in it when I bought it for her. You can't get less than 48 miles to the gallon out of the thing. It goes forever on a thimble full of diesel. It does twice the range that my car does. So even if it pollutes a little bit more, it's still polluting less than my car. But now her car's basically worthless in Essex. It's basically worthless. No one's going to buy it used. She wants to sell it. Who's going to buy it now? Who's going to buy it now? It's absolutely worthless. I don't understand this whole ULEZ thing. It has to be about the money. It has to be about the money. It's just a way to expand out the congestion charge, isn't it? £12.50 a day to cover Greater London. Used car prices are going to be knackered. It's going to force everyone in to buying an electric car, strapping up a whole bunch of finance that no one can afford at the minute. Otherwise, it's £12.50 a day. It's absolutely ridiculous. The whole thing is ridiculous. Around 200,000 non-compliant cars regularly drive into the affected area according to TfL's figures. And even assuming these are only used every other day, anyone owning such a car would be hit with an annual ULEZ bill of over £2,000, hugely diminishing the value of these vehicles. Yeah, I don't believe for a second this has anything at all to do with the environment. It's just a profit-making exercise by ChilliJonCarne, because it makes no sense. It makes no sense. How is mine ULEZ compliant and my niece's isn't? It makes no sense at all. And your car is probably going to be what? The most second expensive thing you buy underneath your house, isn't it? Right? All these people are struggling at the minute, having to drive our older cars for longer. Now they're not going to be able to drive them to work. How many people is this going to affect? It's an absolute joke. They're trying to force you into an electric car, which is complete nonsense, especially if you live in Greater London. Where the hell are you going to charge this thing? Where are you going to charge it? I can't. I live in the country and I wouldn't be able to charge an electric car. And who could afford one? Where do they start at now, electric cars? 35, 40 grand is where they start? You're having a laugh. My Range Rover, which I love dearly, what did I pay for that? About seven-ish, which is, that's a lot of car for the money, right? And my niece's just passed the test. She's only been driving about a year, so she's on black box insurance. And the insurance for her Ibiza, I think it's £2,000, and I only paid £1,000 for the car. It's going to affect a lot of people, and it's just a profit-making exercise, and it's a bloody joke. So what do you think about this then? Let me know in the comments below, because as you know, I do a lot of driving, and I drive quite a lot in Europe, right? And if I'm going down to somewhere in mid-France or the south of France or even Spain in the car, I have to go through one of the major cities. So it's Rouen or Paris, something like that. Normally Rouen if I'm going that way. And they have an ultra-low emission zone there now, and you have to buy the vignette. You have to prove that your car meets the standards, which the Range Rover does. Again, somehow I got no idea at all. Because when I boot it, I got black smoke pouring out of that thing. Not sure it's supposed to do that, but it does. So there's no way it meets emission zone standards. Right? But you have to buy the vignette to go through either Paris or Rouen. Just on the motorway going around it. I think I paid €4 for my vignette. It took a couple of weeks to come in the post. It's €4, not £12.50 a day. And that's not €4 a time. That's €4 for the life of that vehicle to drive in the ultra-low emission zone. So we're still taxing the people. It's only taxing you €4. You can swallow that and not worry too much, can't you? £12.50 a day is an absolute joke. Let me know what you think about it down in the comments below. And as always, thanks for watching, and don't forget to hit the subscribe button if you haven't already, because that way, hopefully, I'll see you in another video again soon. Ta-da.